Okay, I'm back. I accidentally stopped the video, so there'll be a part 2A and a part 2B, but I figured out what's causing this. I'm not quite sure. I know what the problem is, I'm not sure what's causing it, but what's happening is when I did this round, Maya's creating two surfaces. I have keep originals turned off, so I don't know why I'm getting that second surface, but the way to solve it is you just pull the surface away, and you can see this is the good surface, so that's the reversed one. It's creating like a front and a back side, and I'm not sure if that's some behavior that they've added or changed, but for our purposes I'll just delete it, and then I'll set this transpose back to 0 to put the correct one back. We'll do the same thing over here. Select that face, pull it out. That's the bad one, so we'll just delete it. And then I already deleted the ones on these edges here, and let's see if we also have that problem in the middle. And we don't. Although that's still kind of strange, because if you notice, this surface I just pulled out doesn't seem to have a... Oh, that's weird. It's reversed from this direction, but it's not reversed from that direction. So let's just... This one's looking strange, so let's get rid of it completely. And then what we'll do... And see what I mean by Maya's NURBS can be a little bit persnickety. Let's come in here and let's select this isoparm right there. And then let's select this isoparm right here, and then let's just do, once again, let's just do a surface loft between the two, and then take this surface that we create right here, and we need to reverse it. So apply that. There we go. So now we don't have any weirdness in there anymore, and we've created this surface with nice rounds. Once again, don't worry about the gaps. When you come in here and you render it, you won't see those. I'm going to show you. I'll turn the stage back on here, and if I do a very fast render, okay, render's done. So you can see when it renders, you don't get that strange. You don't get the gaps. They're not visible. Well, they're kind of visible, but there's there's another thing you can do when you render NURBS to make these completely invisible. But for our purposes, you'll never see them because this is going to be dark, and it'll be, if you pass this to an STL application, it's not going to worry about the render tessellation so much. So anyway, so now we've got this cartouche shape, so now we need to engrave the letters into it. And what we need to do for that, we've already got the letters engraved, we just need to cut a hole for where the letters are going to go. So we're going to take this face right here, and we're going to isolate it. And then what we're going to do is go to the front view. We're going to turn the font back on, Shift H, perspective. Oh, I've isolated, so that's why I couldn't see it. So we'll take that and this face, and we'll isolate the two, right? And so it doesn't disappear when we're done. We'll auto-load the new object. And just like we did before, now I'm doing this, well, just like we did before, we're going to project these curves onto the surface, and then we're going to trim them out. Now the reason I didn't do that in one step is when you do the rounds, after, if I had engraved or trimmed out the hole for the letters and then tried to do the rounds, once again Maya acts very oddly, and all of a sudden you get areas of this text that will fill back in again. So to eliminate that, I'm breaking this up into steps to avoid that, and this just comes from experience using Maya, knowing how the trim tool behaves properly, or misbehaves in this case. So anyway, let's hide this text again. And now let's trim out, I didn't project it, did I? Let's go back to the front view. Let's turn the text back on. And then there's the text, and let's pick this. Once again, go to Edit NURBS, Project on Surface, and then hide this text. And now we'll see that the text is projected onto the curves there. So go back to perspective mode. And now what we want to do is trim out where that text lives. So what we're going to do is, once again, go to, with the surface selected, go to Edit NURBS, Trim Tool. Once again, it turns to the wireframe with dotted edges or dotted isoparms, and we're going to pick the areas that we want to keep. So we want to keep this part. You see the lines become solid, and then we want to keep this part and we want to keep this part and this part. You notice I'm just picking, I'm not holding shift or anything, I'm just selecting the pieces we want to keep. All the pieces that you select that you want to keep turn into a solid isoparms versus dashed isoparms, and then when I hit return, okay, you see it cuts that text out. And at this point we're actually done, because if I unhide this, you'll see that we have the medallion itself with a hole where the text is going to be, and if you recall, I had hidden the text. So if I come down here and turn that text back on, I got to remember where it's at. I think it's in here. So Shift H, and yes, it is in fact in there. And just notice something, because I've got two-sided lighting turned off, I'm seeing that all of our text here is inverted. So once again, if you go to, in this case, edit, not NURBS, but edit mesh, there is a reverse surface in here somewhere. Once again, I use it so often I keep it up on my shelf up here, so we just reverse the surface direction, do the same thing with that bit there, reverse its surface direction, and now we've got effectively the text chiseled into the surface there. So if I, is this, because it's not smooth, you don't ever want to smooth text that you've done that to. So now we have to do, just so when we render it we can see it, what I'm going to do is select all of the parts of the medallion here, and I've already got some shaders set up, so I'm just going to go to add an existing material, and I'm going to throw a, in this case, just a blend on it, just a dark black blend, and then I'm going to select all of our text, which is in this group right here, and I'm going to throw sort of a copper color onto that, and there we go. So if I go to our render view that I previously set up, and I turn my stage back on, and then I've got all my settings set correctly, I'll come in here and hit the render view, and then I'll pause the video while that's rendering. And there you go. Rendering is done, and there you are. We can see that you don't see those gaps. Remember, I said when you finally do this with shaders on it, you're not going to see them that much unless you're right on top of it. There is a way, which is a whole nother tutorial, that goes into how we can change the render tessellation to reduce the gaps that we're seeing here based on the camera distance from the object. But that's a whole nother 20-minute tutorial, so I'm not going to go into that in this tutorial here. But I think this gives you all the steps you need to do what you want to do. It's not simple by any means, but it is doable. And once again, if I come in closely here, you can see that it is in fact engraved inward into the surface here. It's just because of these very, very narrow sections that we have to we can't put much of a bevel on the edge before we engrave it inward. So anyway, there you go. That's the steps involved. I hope these set of tutorials here, videos, help you out. And once again, I'll put all of these up on my YouTube site so you can watch them. Thanks for watching, guys.